It's been nearly a decade since Istanbul last heard the roaring engines of a Formula One race car. But soon the city's motorsport fans will be able to enjoy the return of the Turkish Grand Prix. With the races scheduled for late November, having an outdoor event could bring a sense of joy to cap off a very trying year. Adel Halem has a story.
Calling all F1 fans, circle November the 15th on your calendar. The Turkish Grand Prix will be back at Istanbul Park for the first time since 2011.
220.000'den fazla.
This race will be held with spectators. The track has a seating capacity of more than 220,000. If we curb more than half of that for social distancing, up to 100,000 people will be able to watch the race here, sitting distantly.
F1 initially planned 22 races for this year. Then, when the pandemic hit, it looked like COVID-19 would wipe out the entire season. In July, races started resuming, but more than 3 months behind schedule, several events had to be scrapped. Enter the Turkish GP. With its mild November weather and a tried and tested track, Istanbul is an ideal late addition to the calendar.
Ülkemizin dört bir yanında mükemmel testlerimiz var.
Turkey has excellent sporting facilities. We're capable of hosting big events domestically and internationally, and even better than many developed countries with the hospitality of Turkish people. When it comes to hosting international events, Turkey has become a desired country.
The venue is anticipating about 20,000 foreign tourists.
Asgari $50 milyon.
We think that there will be at least a $50 million worth cash flow from abroad, and also local ticket sales from Istanbul and other parts of Turkey.
Revenue that would be helpful in diluting the economic impact of the virus. Organizers have been in talks with F1 to get the Turkish Grand Prix back on the grid since 2017. And considering how long it's been since the Turkish GP was held here, nearly a decade, only 3 active drivers, Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, and Kimi Räikkönen, have ever won a race right here at Istanbul Park. Turkey doesn't have a long history with Formula One, just 7 races beginning in 2005. And throughout the latest negotiations, the presidency has supported and encouraged the deal.
Bu pandemiden dolayı
We signed a one-year contract because of the pandemic. Once this race is successfully completed without a hitch, I can say that both sides are willing to turn this into a long-term contract.
And that would be good news for fans. Tickets start at just $4 a day for general admission, and organizers are hoping the Turkish GP will be in pole position for a permanent slot on the F1 grid. Adil Halim, Straight Talk, Istanbul.
And joining me now from Istanbul is Jason Tahincioglu. He is a former GP2 driver and Formula One expert. And joining from London, Greg Stuart, who is a staff writer at Formula One's official website. Gentlemen, welcome to Straight Talk. It's good to have you on the program. So after an interval of 9 years, Turkey's intercity, Istanbul Park, will be hosting Grand Prix in November. Jason, how do you feel about it?
Amazing feeling, obviously. We're proud to be hosting the race again after 9 years, and obviously, being able to host, the pinnacle of motorsports again is just remarkable. I mean, we're going to welcome it no matter what, so just bring it on.
So, Greg, I've read you're excited that the F1 will be run in Turkey in 2020. Why are you so excited about it? Are there incredible memories?
Well, I mean, since 1995, basically all tracks have been designed by a guy called Herman Tilke, but it's sort of understood that Istanbul Park is his crowning glory. And, watching the 2020 cars go around that track is going to be an incredible sight and something that, I think all F1 fans are looking forward to. I know all the F1 drivers are very excited to go back as well, so it's very exciting.
Mm-hmm. So, is Istanbul Grand Prix and especially a challenging one for you?
Well, obviously it's a hugely challenging circuit, and it's it's crowned by Turn 8. Jason will have been around it, so he'll have more of an idea than me. But in the current cars, they're going to be generating over 5G going around turn 8, which is a long multi-apex left-hander. So it's going to be a huge challenge for the drivers in the current cars. And the necks are going to be hurting a lot by the end of the weekend, that's for sure.
So, Jason, as a former race car driver, tell us about this turn 8, why it is so appealing and famous among the drivers and for drivers. What's about it?
Well, it's fast, it's very fast, it's long, it's very long, and it's anti-clockwise, which means it's unusual, let's say. So, obviously these cars are going to be generating at least, at minimum speeds of 170 miles, probably about 280 kilometers now, around that. And that's minimum speed. So entry and exit, you're talking about, an average of 180 miles an hour, which is around 300 kilometers. So, and, they'll be generating probably more than 5G, and that's constant G. So we're talking about 5.5, 6 Gs for about 6 seconds at least, and that's fighter jet territory when you think about it. And the current cars, the 2020 spec cars, are going to be doing it pretty easily, I must say. So I think the cars are not going to be challenged, but the drivers will be. So again, that's interesting. But at the end of the day, the race is about 50 odd laps, and we'll see who has the strongest neck.
So the only current drivers, if I'm not mistaken, to have won in years past at Istanbul Park are Kimi Raikkonen and 6-time world champion Lewis Hamilton and 4-time champion Sebastian Vettel. Is it enough for excitement? What are we expecting to see in this year's races? Greg, you can continue,
I'm guessing,
or Jason.
Okay, it's fine. No, I mean, I'm just going to say, whoever has been to this circuit before is looking forward and coming back to this circuit. And as you said, there's only been about 3 or 4 people. I think Grosjean raced here in GP2 as well, so he's going to be back racing here again in a Formula 1 car, and he's probably excited as well. But I'll let Greg give the rest.
Yeah, Greg.
Yeah, but of course, there's another aspect to this, which is, of course, the last race they had was in May 2011. They're going to be racing in November. Climatic conditions are going to be different, so the teams won't have any meaningful data they can use. So it's going to be this unknown for lots of drivers. Some of them will have done it on their sims at home, their home simulation rigs, but it's going to be going into the unknown for a lot of drivers. So that adds an interesting element to the weekend, and it's something that it's one of the positives to come out of the coronavirus situation, is that it's forced us into these new areas and places that we wouldn't have gone to or gone back to ordinarily. So
this year has presented Formula One and the world with an unprecedented challenge. How has COVID-19 impacted the races, revenues, viewership, and maybe most importantly, drivers' psychology? And how do you see the world sports moving forward amid this pandemic?
Yeah, well, obviously, it sounds a bit silly to say it, but Formula One's lifeblood is racing. When cars aren't going around tracks, it obviously has an impact on the business. I think we've navigated it as best we can. And, I think the positive for us as a company is that I think we took a very Formula One approach to it when it became clear that racing was possible under very strict scenarios. And so we looked at the rules, worked out how best you could actually put on Grand Prix, and then set about doing it. And we've managed to build out a 17-race calendar, which is going to take place in 6 months. So I think everyone's going to be very tired at the end of this year. But, that's only 5 Grand Prix less than we planned to do in 2020 anyway. So everyone's put their shoulder to the wheel and managed to create this calendar. And as I said, it's provided this opportunity to go to places like Istanbul Park, to go to tracks like Imola, Mugello, Portimao in Portugal. So, I don't think anybody would have wished for the coronavirus pandemic, but I think there have been positives to come out of it, and I think we've navigated it quite well.
So Turkish organizers, Jason, plan to host about 100,000 fans with record low ticket prices at just $4 a day. So is this doable? And are you hopeful that Turkey will get a permanent spot on F1 if this event goes successfully?
Well, thinking about the previous generation, let's say, of age has seen Formula One come to this country, but the current generation hasn't. So, and considering that the current generation obviously is interested in Formula One, let's say, and they haven't seen a Formula One car go around a Turkish track, they're going to be interested. They're going to come. They're going to want to come, especially when the ticket prices are so low. So, I think we should be expecting a good amount of crowd. Once they're in the circuit, they'll decide wherever they want to sit and watch the races. And but again, it's just one of those things. We've had this issue in the past with the spectators, but I really think we could be looking at at least those 100,000 tickets being sold, and it will look good on TV. We'll probably see that.
On the other hand, I've been reading some comments from fans who are caught up in between the COVID-19 scare and the temptation to watch the world's, let's say, most popular races with a record low ticket prices. Greg, what's your take on that? Will you come, for example?
I won't be there. I'll be remote working in lovely London, but I would love to go. And, I just think we obviously look at it very closely. There's obviously this sort of bubble situation that we have in the paddock at the moment where everybody's sort of split apart into different groups. Obviously, it's a fine balance. We love having fans come to Formula One races. We're going to have the Italian Grand Prix this weekend with no fans at Monza, which is sort of totally anathema, really. But as soon as people can come back safely, we can't wait to see people back.
So, Jason, we just mentioned that Turkey wants to get a permanent spot on F1 calendar. What are the main challenges before that objective, to your opinion?
Obviously, they'll have to be hosting a brilliant race here. The previous 7 races that have been hosted between 2005 and 2011 have been very well in terms of organization. And I think Greg will probably know that this season has pretty much been like a force majeure season, where obviously we've had this pandemic, but we've still had the Formula One management has still managed to actually fill a 17 or give us at least a 17 race, a season, so which is amazing. So I'm guessing whoever was going to be a part of the 2020 season originally will be a part of it 2021. So unless there's someone's going to drop out or something, we're not sure whether Turkey is going to be having an F1 race next year, unless there's going to be 22 races, which I don't think, because I think they're completely limited to 22 races, or else the mechanics say they're going to get probably divorced from their wives or not have any families left, because obviously they're away from their family or their home for a long time.
All right, gentlemen, unfortunately we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining us on Straight Talk. Appreciate it a lot.